March 14th, 2019. From El Cajon, California, this is episode 176 of You Can Bet on That. Hi, everybody. Welcome to You Can Bet on That, a podcast for the recreational gambler. My name is Mark Duvall, and sitting across from me is Dr. Mike.
Hello.
Mike, I've got a question for you.
All right.
Based on our experiences the last week at the casino, and specifically last Friday, are you still a recreational gambler?
Boy, that's a good question.
It's been rough, hasn't it?
It's been terrible.
The last Friday, honestly, literally, we had our worst night ever at Harrah's, both of us.
Yes.
We're talking dollar amount. It's not hyperbole. Right. It was, we really did each lose the most we had lost.
We've ever lost.
Yeah. And it's funny because prior to them switching over to this new card system for craps, you had said that you don't like this new system.
Yeah, I said that before they switched.
Before that, but certainly with all the losses recently, you must just absolutely hate it.
I hate it. We haven't won yet.
Yeah.
And, you know, you can go through the math and it comes out the same and everything. But for whatever reason, it is brutal.
Yeah, it's been rough.
I was there last night just to pick up my free play. I played a little bit. Mm-hmm. And in the short time I played, not 1 point was made.
Yeah, that's
and like I was telling you, 90% of the points were 6s or 8s. So you'd think one of them's going to be made. If they were, a bunch of 4s, I'd say, okay, well, it's hard to do. But no, 6s and 8s, couldn't make them.
Yeah. So, the year started great, but now we're, big slump. So
big slump. I seriously, and I told you this, I'm going to just go out there and I'm going to put $30 three-way 7 every roll.
He did say that before that bad Friday night. He was, that's what I'm going to do.
I should have done that. Yeah. Honestly, now, if I had done that, how much would I have won?
A lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or if you'd been playing the don't, you would have cleaned up.
I would have cleaned up.
I'm trying to remember maybe 1, maybe 2 rolls were winning rolls that whole time.
There
that
were
whole
winning
night.
rolls. Yeah. I think there was
some
2.
we'd get a little money back, or it wasn't too big a loss.
But you still lost some. Yeah. No, if we had played the don't, we would have cleaned up. Yeah. And if I had just had a 7 on every roll, I probably would have cleaned up. There were so many immediate outs.
Yeah, it was brutal.
Crazy.
Yeah. But so you're still a recreational gambler, you think?
Well, yeah. I'm going to say yes.
Okay, and I'm going to agree with you because we've got some sports wagers that are going on right now. I told you turn off your phone, and you said, no, I'm going to be checking my phone while we record.
Yeah, I like to know. I'm curious.
All right.
And it's not like it really matters that much, but I'm curious.
What matters is the quality of the show, all right? Because I'll throw something over to you, and you're looking at your phone, and then I've got to edit out like 30 seconds of silence and then remind you what I just said. The listeners don't know.
They don't know that. You don't have to tell them that. They don't know any of that.
All right. So
it's difficult working with me.
Yeah, oh, sure. And not just on a podcast.
No,
yeah, I've talked to some of your employees. Yeah.
Especially my wife.
Well, recently one of our listeners was asking about Louisiana casinos. And you had been to one some 20 years ago or something like that. Well, listener Hayden wrote in with some suggestions. I'm just going to read his email here. In 2015, Tillman Fertitta built a fantastic Golden Nugget in Lake Charles, Louisiana, 2 hours from Houston. It's probably the nicest casino in Louisiana. Great rooms, fantastic food, fair rules overall for players. A bit on the pricey side, though, $25 minimums for everything on the weekends, with some $15 blackjack, but unfortunately pays $6 to $5 at that table minimum. Otherwise, the $25 games are double-deck pitch and pay $3 to $2. There is also a great Indian casino in Kinder, Louisiana, 2 hours and 45 minutes from Houston, called Coushatta. This place is great with an enormous casino floor and $10 blackjack and craps on the weekends with fair player rules. I would recommend both very highly for different reasons / experiences. So there you go. A couple of good suggestions for Louisiana. And again, it'd be nice to get down there, but we have to kind of pick and choose our trips, these days. And it just so happens, Gambapalooza this year is Atlantic City. So that's kind of our far away trip.
Yeah, that's where we're going
for this year.
I went to the Lake Charles That's where I was. On Lake Charles. It was a riverboat at that time.
Okay.
That may not be there anymore.
Yeah, probably not.
This might be the replacement.
Yeah.
But yeah, I actually liked it. Remember, I had a good experience there. It was fun. I didn't like that the boat actually did leave the dock.
That's right. A lot of those riverboats had to, right before. They couldn't just be docked.
They had to leave. So at midnight, it's like this whistle would sound, and it's like, if you want off, get off now because you're stuck there for an hour.
What was the rationale behind that? What's
the rationale behind anything in America?
No, that's true. How about anything in the world? You know my philosophy.
I know your philosophy. I think you're right. The world. What's the rationale behind that? I mean, most things make absolutely no sense. I mean, it makes no sense to have a perfectly good craps system and then change it to some crappy thing that nobody wins at.
I'll tell you, I was reading an article. I didn't write any of this down in the show notes, but there was a proposal that they were trying to get through the California legislature that would allow the tribal casinos to take sports wagers and also allow them to deal real craps and roulette.
Really?
Now, as I was reading through the article, it said, we didn't get the number of signatures necessary on the petition. They needed some many thousand, and they had zero. And I'm thinking,
they had zero?
How do you get zero signatures?
So even the guy who wrote it didn't sign it?
That's what it said in the article. I'm thinking, what? What am I reading?
We had zero.
Is this The Onion?
Yeah, that's crazy.
So no real craps or roulette coming to California
because they couldn't get a signature.
Yeah, nobody would sign it.
They didn't actually go to a casino and ask anybody to sign it.
Yeah. I would have signed it. If you're listening, we'll sign it. Yeah. So that's 2.
Yeah, there you go.
Hey, thanks to everyone who's been clicking through our Amazon link. Remember, whenever you're going to buy something through Amazon, please go to our page first, youcanbetonthat.com, and click through our Amazon link towards the top of the page. Now, we've got a ton of voicemails, so let's see how many we can get through right now. Remember, call our voicemail hotline at 951-292-4377. That's 9512-WAGERS.
9512-WAGERS.
And maybe we'll play your clip on the show. First up is Scott.
Hello, gentlemen. This is Scott from Indianapolis. I've been listening for a long time, but this is my first call. And I really only called in because on your last podcast, I think it was a gentleman named Adam who called in, who said that he was mainly a craps player, but was playing slots and had a nice win. And I chuckled because I had a very similar experience. The girlfriend decided that she wanted to go to the local Caesars Casino here in Shelbyville, Indiana, which really doesn't have any table games, so it didn't really appeal to me. But I went along, and we landed at a $1 slot machine, one of those deals where, 2 people can play at a time on a couch kind of a thing. Well, we hit $700, which tickled her to no end, and she wanted to keep playing, so we played that down to $300. I said, well, let's take our money and let's go. But on the way out, I got distracted by a high-limit room, which I did not realize existed. And I'm thinking, hey, we're playing with house money. Let's give it a go. So found a $5 machine, same setup with the couch, what have you, and started playing $15 a spin. And within about 45 minutes, we hit 3 separate hand pays for $2,000, followed by one of $5,000, followed by a third of $2,050. And after those, we played for probably another, maybe half an hour. And long story short, we left north of $10,000
nice.
Up,
That's
which
great.
was more than I've ever won on craps. So I'm not saying I'm a converted slots player, but it's nice. Thanks, guys. Take care.
Yeah, great story. I like how he said he was distracted by the high limit
room. Yeah, I'm thinking of me.
Exactly. That's
many times distracted by the high limit room. Hey, there's a special room here.
We have 700. Let's see if we can lose it all.
Yeah. Well, in order to play devil's advocate, though, he said he was playing with house money. How do you feel about that statement?
Well, you know how I feel about that. But I'm also guilty of playing with house money.
Right.
Because that's part of the fun.
Once he cashed out, though, it wasn't the house's money anymore. It was his money.
It's never house's money. It's your money. But I understand that. I know some gamblers think of it that way, and it is fun. It's fun to do that. That's why I have. Right. You would never go up to a table and put $5,000 on a 4.
Right.
But if you pressed it all the way up to $5,000, you'd leave it out there, even though that's your money. Right.
Right.
So.
Yeah. Probably shouldn't with this new crap system that sucks for everyone who's listening and goes to Harrah's Southern California.
It's like most of the other California casinos, Mike, though. That's how the system. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Well, you know what's particularly annoying? I'm just going to say this once and then I'm going to let it die. We can go to several casinos that are way closer to our house here.
Yes.
Way closer.
Yeah.
And, get home at more decent times and and play the same. Mm-hmm. We went to Harrah's because we liked that system and, so.
That's one of the reasons, we would go there. And plus, again, we've talked about it. It's a Caesars property. So, the credits that we would get there, we could convert to Las Vegas or, anywhere else.
Yeah, well, if the losing keeps up, it's not worth it.
Yeah, right. Maybe we'll go to Hamul, right?
Right, or Hamul or Barona.
Yeah. So you said that's the last you're going to talk about it?
That's the last I'm going to talk about it until the next caller.
All right. Sounds good. Oh, and speaking of things you said you were going to do, you said you were going to take the stairs.
I did.
Which you did until it started raining. I gave you some slack there because
it was raining.
It was rain, and they're outdoor stairs and they are very slippery, but you did take the stairs.
I'm goofy enough. I don't need wet stairs to walk down.
And speaking of wet, I think you did say make it wet once.
Twice.
I think it was out of anger, though. Yeah. More than anything.
Well, a cocktail waitress dropped her tray.
Oh, that's right.
And it went all over the floor, and all these people were trying to pick it up, and I yelled out, "Make it wet!" So I wonder what people thought about that. But
we talked about the carpet. That they're changing. Right. You and I talked about it again. I bet they are just pulling their hair out at the horrible decision they've made because you've seen it. It's all scuffed up. It shows it's marks. Oh, God.
It looks terrible already,
really does.
And it's been like a week.
Yeah.
What's funny is, how long have we been going to that casino?
Well, it opened a little over 20 years ago. We did go at the very beginning, but regularly 9 years, maybe
10 years, right? Have you ever seen a cocktail waitress drop her tray?
No, that's true.
Never until they get new carpet. And then and it's a light colored carpet. Yeah. Then boom, it's like this big noise. Now we've seen the ceiling fall down.
Yes, of course, and would have killed somebody if they'd been right underneath it. Sure, we've seen that.
We've seen that.
That was the old carpet.
Yeah, that was the old carpet. Thank God, because it was red. It would have covered up the blood from all the injuries.
Yeah. All right, let's hear from our buddy Wendell.
Hey guys, how you doing? It's Wendell from Denton, Texas. Friends of the Denton Dallas Beyond podcast. I think it's been almost a year since I've called, because every time I'm about to call, I think, did I already call that in? Because, we might have been drinking. But anyway, I guess quick year update, back to what y'all are talking about is the whole gambling thing. Yesterday, I was at work, and this is random, and one of my coworkers looked a little puzzled, and I was like, hey, what's up? And he's like, man, we just did our taxes, and I found out my wife won $400,000 last year in W2Gs. And I was like, well, that's pretty extreme. I'm like, you didn't know that? And he's like, no. And I'm like, and where's the money at? And his wife was, I guess, was like, I'm not sure. So it's kind of funny, man. No matter what you're gambling, you kind of have to play through it to win it. So anyway, I hit my first Royal Flush last year at the Golden Gate. It was progressive, so it was a little over 2,000, so that was pretty sweet. And it was pretty good, man. I had 8 WTGs myself last year. I already have 3 this year, 2019. But anyway, man, I listened to every episode, so keep up the good work, man. Maybe we'll meet up one day in Vegas again. Have a good one, man.
I found out my wife won $400,000 in W2G.
You don't know, when you think about that statement, you don't know whether to be pissed off or happy. Right? Because it's like, wow, we won a lot of money. Wait, where's that money? And how come I didn't know we won it?
I know, we're laughing, but this might actually be a real problem in that household.
Yeah. Right. Well, if I find out my wife's won $400,000, I'm going to be so pissed.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, why? Because she's been gambling without you, or because
because she's a better gambler than me.
Oh, I see. I got you. You're not going to be mad that you don't see any of the money?
No, okay. It's her gambling money.
All right, sounds good. All right, next up is Kevin.
Hi, Mike and Mark. It's Kevin in Anaheim. Sorry I haven't called you guys in a while. I've been kind of busy with stuff and catching up on the podcast. But anyway, I just have a quick question for you guys. When you guys go to Harrah's Southern California, I know that you guys tweet it out, or maybe you put it on your Facebook, or you put it on something. But I was just curious, are you guys going Friday into Saturday night or Saturday into Sunday night? I've been trying to gauge by conversation, consistently when you guys are going. And let's say you guys are going next Friday or next Saturday or whatever you guys are consistently going. If I want to try to meet up with you guys at Harrah's Southern California, is there any identifying clothes or things you guys wear? Do you guys have you can bet on that hats or shirts or I just don't want to be running up to the table and asking people, are you Mike? Are you Mark? Yelling out Muckleshoot or anything else. But, yeah, I was hoping to come out there and play craps with you guys and just talk about gambling. But anyway, thanks for the show. You guys do a great job, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.
These days, we are consistently going on Friday nights.
Correct.
So
Friday into Saturday.
Yeah. So we get up there between 7 and 8 o'clock usually, and we're there till 1 or 2 in the morning.
Yeah, we used to get up there closer to like 6.
Yeah, but
now it's been more like 7.
Yeah. And the best way to find, well, Mike usually has on a superhero t-shirt.
Most of the time.
You could look for just somebody who has a hot chocolate on the top of their head.
Yeah,
that might be another way to check.
I'll tell you what you really can do. You could just stand by a table and just say to anybody, "Where's Mark and Mike?"
Yeah, honestly.
And they'll just point you out.
And he's not kidding. Yeah, ask any, players maybe not, because there might be some, people from out of town. But certainly any of the dealers, any of the pit in the craps area, just say, "Hey, are Mike and Mark here tonight?"
Yeah.
They say, "Oh, yeah, they're over there." Or, "Oh, no, I haven't seen them tonight." But yeah, Fridays. And you know what? Yeah, we don't tweet out like we used to. We didn't get too many responses from that. And I would forget sometimes. I'm thinking, so we just haven't been doing it anymore. But if you want to tweet to us or just, send us a message on Twitter, I'll respond and say, "Oh yeah, we're going to be there."
We'll tell you the exact time we're going to be there. Yeah. And, another good way is just look for 2 guys standing next to each other at a craps table, one of them on his phone, completely oblivious to what's happening on the table.
Right, like he's not interested, doesn't understand the game or isn't interested.
Just isn't interested. And the other guy will just look pissed off.
Yeah, that is also a good one. I think you can figure out which one is which in that situation. All right, next call.
Hi, guys. My name's Andrew from Springfield, Mass. I just started listening to your podcast and love it. We have a new casino here in Springfield, so that's piqued my interest in gambling after many years of not doing so. Quick little story about the Texas Hold'em game that they play at the casino.
And I'm going to pause it there because as you listen to the rest of the call, I think he's talking about Ultimate Texas Hold'em. So he's not talking about, the poker room game.
Texas.
He's talking about the carnival game, Ultimate Texas Hold'em.
Okay,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Very good.
Been interesting. I've been several times, and the dealers that are being trained here in Springfield have a lot to learn. I've seen so many people overpaid with full houses that the dealers thought were on the flop and gave several $100s away. But the other day I was playing, and a dealer came to give someone a break, and he didn't have hands to qualify, but he kept paying us anyway, even though he couldn't qualify. So the guy sitting next to me, we're looking at each other, and all of a sudden we doubled up our bets. This guy was there for 15 to 20 minutes giving a dealer a break, and we probably raked in a few $100 just in him overpaying because he didn't realize that if he didn't qualify, he didn't pay. So MGM in Springfield has a lot of growing to do. One other question is, if you play the dark side with craps, how do you remember the odds to put down on your bet? I have a hard time keeping that straight. But anyway, I'm a new listener, and hopefully we'll be making some money here in Springfield. Thank you.
Andrew actually called back. He wanted to kind of he wasn't ragging on the dealers because he said the dealers are actually very good and very nice. They just haven't been trained well.
Right.
So
which is not uncommon.
No.
We found that quite often, especially newer places or beginner places, I guess, where dealers go to learn.
Sure.
You'll get dealers like that.
Yeah, I remember when we were playing at the D and we were playing 3-card poker, and you ended up with a straight, but you lost.
Right.
And you're still supposed to be paid the bonus on the ante, and the dealer didn't think so. Yeah. Right. So we had to have the pit come over and ask. So yeah, it happens. Yeah. And she was a very nice dealer. Yeah. Just, didn't know all the rules.
Just didn't know all the rules. Yeah. Which always amazes me. I mean, if I owned a place where I was giving somebody some kind of authority to pass out my money, I think I'd want to know that they really knew when they were supposed to give it out and when they weren't supposed to give it out.
I think this happens a lot on carnival games because in this example that we were talking about, she probably wasn't exclusively 3-card poker. She probably did blackjack and maybe Ultimate Texas Hold'em, other games. And, this is just one that she had learned along with everything else and just didn't learn it, all the way.
Right.
So.
Well, and it's one thing to learn a game and it's another thing to to be proficient at doing it.
That's true too. Yes, where you don't even think about it, you just know that this is.
Yeah, because what if like 1 week, they just happen to put me on blackjack every night this week, and then so it's been 2 weeks since you dealt Ultimate Texas Hold'em, and you go back and you're trying to think, now what were the rules on that?
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, it can be a little confusing. So.
Sure. Now, as far as don't pass odds go, here's something that you can keep in mind if you're playing at a 3, 4, 5 table. If you're playing the don't, no matter what the point is, you can put 6 times your don't pass bet behind for odds.
Right.
And that will be the correct maximum amount, right? 6 times.
Right.
Because if the point is 4 or 10, well, that $6 will pay 3. And if the point's 5 or 9, that $6 will pay 4. If the point's 6 or 8, the $6 will pay 5. And in fact, in general, no matter what the odds are at a casino, as long as you're betting a multiple of 6 that doesn't go over how much odds they let you bet, as long as it's a multiple of 6, you're making a bet for the proper amount.
Right.
Yeah. So, otherwise you just kind of have to memorize the numbers. But that's something to keep in mind, just 6. Multiple of 6.
Or just do like most people do, just ask now what's the most I can put?
Yeah, you can always do that. And I know you don't like to be somebody who just is constantly asking, but you ask a few times, you'll probably pick up on it.
Right,
so, yeah. All right, next up is Anthony.
Hey, Mark and Dr. Mike, this is Anthony from Connecticut. I've got a story about my first time playing craps. It was last night. I bought in for $60 and I had about 10 minutes to play. First roll comes around, and I hit a 6 and then 7 out. Second roll comes around, and I threw some money on the hard 6 and hard 8. And just like listening to Dr. Mike, just like he does, I got to parlay the first hit, and then I pressed it on the second time and hit it for 3 separate times on the hard 8.
Nice.
It was a lot of fun. I made a bunch of money, which was, obviously even more fun. But I do have a question. Not used to tipping on a craps table, I usually play roulette. A roulette, every time I win, I take a few chips and I toss to the dealer. But last night, I think I gave the dealers $3 just for them, and I also made $1 on the hard 6 and the hard 8 for them. And I believe that the hard 8 hit twice. It might have only hit once. I was at the table for about 10 minutes, and I'm an obvious newbie, and the dealers were really great to me. I'm curious if that is a little, a lot. I just, I think it's important to tip the dealers, and I want to make sure I'm doing it right. Love the podcast, guys. Thanks.
If you were down to $60,
yes,
and you're basically making $5 bet for the dealers, you said you gave them 3 and then made $1 bet each. Yeah, I'd say that's fine.
That's a lot.
Yeah, if you start to win more, then sure, put out some more for them. But I think at that point, yeah, that's fine.
No, I think he did it perfect.
Yeah,
actually.
Yeah,
and I want to emphasize that. Many dealers that I've talked to are very happy if somebody tips $1.
Yep.
I mean, some people, I feel weird, just tipping it all. They're so happy that people tip just $1 because they're in a no-lose situation. If that bet loses, well, it's money they didn't have anyway. And if it wins, they get more than was actually bet for them. And it drops in the box and they're happy. And in the long run, that's how they make money.
And a lot of times that's how I will tip. I'll just put $1, say, on the pass line for every shooter. Or, I'll throw in one hard way. Every time a point's made, I'll just pick a hard way. If it's the point, I'll throw it in. Or if it's like a 9 or 5, I'll just decide on one. Just give them a hard way. $1.
I think most dealers are very happy if anyone tips.
Especially at the craps table, because a lot of people don't tip.
A lot at the craps table especially. There is very little tipping. What game do you think tips the most?
Well, blackjack.
Blackjack,
yeah, sure.
Of course, people, and because it's easy. They just put $1 next to their bet, right?
Yeah. Okay, let's hear from Amber.
Hi, I'm Mark and Dr. Mike. This is Amber, and I am calling in because I heard your episode on the stigma of gambling, and I wanted to give you a different take on it. Last weekend, I was in Reno with my boss, and we were at a conference in a casino, and it was a great opportunity because of some of my gambling knowledge to take her around and show her different games, and I also introduced her a little bit to the craps table. And we actually had a fun time. It was a great way for us to kind of bond at work. So sometimes it kind of works out a little different. The other thing is I wanted to give you a trip report on the Atlantis, and I have a question. I actually went in and started out at the video poker machine, had a good run in the morning, forgot to put in enough quarters at one point and hit a 4 of a kind. So I was really quick to change that and put in the full bet, and I ended up hitting another 4 of a kind. So it was actually a great run at Atlantis. Atlantis is a full-service casino. It has a spa, a wonderful steakhouse, and a great craps table with a $5 limit. So at the end of the night after our conference, I went to the craps table and I started to buy in, and there was an older gentleman next to me who basically did not want to give up his spot. So the dealer looked at him and asked him if he wanted to move his chips over to give up his spot, and it happened to be the only spot that was open. And of course he didn't want to do that either. So we all kind of came to an impasse, and finally he acquiesced, and he wanted to be the last person on the table, so he was now the second to last person. And I don't know if it was superstition, but one of the other players at the table called me a lucky charm, and the next thing you know, we were off again rolling, and we rolled a bunch of pass lane bets. Everyone was having a great time, and we went for a few minutes, and then everyone started to 7 out again, and I took off. So it was a great experience, but I don't know if you've ever had a situation where you've come up on a table and someone simply just did not want to let you in for whatever superstition. Once again, I just want to thank you for giving me the courage to call in. I know I'd emailed you in the past. And also, I want to thank you for a great job that you do with Dr. Mike. It's lots of fun to listen to your podcast, and I've learned a ton about gambling. And this weekend, I actually got to make a work connection. So hope you're having a great February and staying warm down in San Diego. And once again, thanks for all you do.
Thanks, Amber. See, wasn't that a great call?
It was very good.
And
call.
I just want to emphasize to people too, if you're hesitant to call, and I certainly understand it, you can be a little nervous, but call in. And if you stumble over your words or you pause too long, you say a lot, I'll edit that all out. So
Mark fixes
it sounds a real clean. But so yeah, Amber, really glad that you called in. A superstition about letting people into the table.
She's telling that story, and I'm thinking I would love for somebody not to let me in. I would just like for you to see what that's like.
I would like to see that too. Yeah. I would like to see somebody not letting you in. Yes.
Yeah, they would get an earful. Oh my God, I'd probably get kicked out.
I'm trying to think too. We've been in situations like that where people just don't want to move, or no, it's too crowded already, or whatever. Yeah. And it usually isn't too crowded,
right? Well, if it's too crowded, we're not budging our way in.
We're not, right. And it didn't sound like this was what Amber was doing. She just wanted to be, there was room.
Yeah, it's one of those guys that's in between two spots.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. I don't think it's a superstition. I don't think people are thinking, if she comes in, it's going to go cold or it's going to 7 out or something. No. I just don't think, they're just lazy and don't want to move. They want a lot of room.
For whatever reason, he probably just wanted a lot of room.
Yeah, exactly.
And it is nice to have a lot of room. We always pick an empty table because we like a lot of room.
Yeah, we do.
But when it's full, it's full. And, you're not going to turn people away. I say get as many people in there as you can.
Well, certainly the casino wants that. I mean, the table is designed to handle a certain number of people on each side. Yeah.
And I like it actually because there's more chance that somebody's going to have a good roll. I feel like, maybe these 3 won't do so good, but that 4th guy might, be the guy.
Well, in a crowded table, when the dice do get hot, that's very exciting, right?
Yeah, well, and you love it because the game goes slower, so you get more rating.
Yeah, right, exactly. And I can play a lot more Sudoku.
Yeah,
so that's in between rolls. All right. Next call.
Hey, guys, it's Adam from Connecticut. I just want to call today just to get a quick little rundown of what you guys think about Spanish 21. MGM Springfield just got a few Spanish 21 games, and I actually played it on Monday night and had quite a bit of fun with it, won some money. It's wonderful. It's, under $25 a hand. Any blackjack pays 3-2. I think, as with all Spanish 21s, player 21 always beats the dealer 21. And it just seems like overall to me a better and a more fun game. There's also those bonus payouts for certain combinations like a 21 that's 6-7-8, 7-7-7, so on and so forth. I also played the match the dealer side bet, and it got me thinking. I feel like in Spanish 21, the match the dealer bet is a better bet than the match the dealer bet in regular blackjack. With the 10s being out of the deck, I just feel like there's more of a chance that one of your 2 cards or both of them is going to match the dealer's card. I hit the bet quite a bit, and I have played it in blackjack at Mohegan Sun. It's not that great in blackjack, but I feel like it was a lot more lucrative in Spanish 21. And I just wanted to get your thoughts, see if you guys have run the math on that and let Mark tell me how bad of a bet it is, and let Dr. Mike tell me to continue betting it. All right. I look forward to hearing from you guys. Bye.
My father loves Spanish 21.
Yes, he does. He sure does.
It is, honestly, I think his favorite game.
And it's a good game.
It's a good game.
It really is.
Yeah.
Because if you're playing basic strategy, the house edge is less than 1%.
Right.
In some cases, it might be better than the blackjack game that the casino's offering.
Exactly, especially if it's 6-5 blackjack.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, we talked about Spanish 21 on episode 65. So if you want a little bit more information on it, go back to that episode. But the gimmick is that they take all the 10s out of the deck, not the face cards, but the actual 10s.
The 10s.
And then there are all these extra things that you can do, in bonus payouts and things like that. So yes, the match the dealer bet does hit more often in Spanish 21 because of what Adam was talking about.
Exactly.
Is it better than the match the dealer bet at regular blackjack? Well, yes, if the pay tables were the same, for sure. Yeah, so it'll really depend on what the pay tables
there's no
are.
10s.
Yeah. But the house edge on the match the dealer bet at Spanish 21 is around 3%, which is fairly low for a side bet.
I was going to say, for a side bet, that is fairly low because most of them are a lot more than that.
Yeah. So, no, I wouldn't bet it. Mike would probably bet it every time.
Exactly.
Exactly as you expected us to say. Yep.
And I think you should play. Spanish 21's fun.
It is, yes.
Now, where did
it's
the
more fun
name
than
come
blackjack.
from? Let's talk about that.
Do you know?
No.
Well, I don't either.
But I'd love to know if anyone knows that.
Well, you could probably just go onto Wikipedia. It probably says.
I don't know. I mean, just why Spanish 21?
I don't know.
Is it developed in Spain?
I don't know.
I'm not going to look it up because there's some things that magical in the world that I don't want to know the answer to.
Okay, so folks, don't contact us and let us know.
Right.
Do not.
I just want to always wonder, I wonder where that came from. That's more fun than actually knowing.
Okay, very good.
Because it's one of those things when you find out, it's going to be like, well, that's stupid.
All right. Well, you're going to love this next call then because it's going to teach you a lesson. You ready?
All right.
Here we go.
Here we go.
Hello, Mark, and your dentist friend.
Mm-hmm.
My name is Vin from Pennsylvania. First-time caller, but long-time listener. Anyway, I'm just calling as a math guy. I'm disappointed in you, Mark. You keep allowing your dentist friend play horn high Ace-Deuce. There is a better way. You should be playing $4 craps and $1 yo instead. You risk the same amount of money, but with $4 craps and $1 yo, the payout is better for the high-low. Check the math. Love your show. Bye.
Why am I getting in trouble? I don't understand.
Oh, it's all your fault. Come on. It's your fault.
All right, so he's
like Mark lets me do anything I do.
He's exactly right. And Mike, I've got a chart here on the page. We're not going to describe because there's a lot of numbers, but you can see for yourself. The bottom line is if you're talking about a horn bet, high Ace-Deuce, horn high Ace-Deuce, which you'd bet 5 units on, versus betting a C and E where you have 4 units on the C and 1 unit on the E. That's 4 on any craps and 1 on E. Okay. The 11 and the 3 pay the same on both bets.
Right.
But the 2 and the 12 pay 1 unit more on the C and E.
Right.
Okay.
It's the 2 and 12 that make the difference.
It's the 2 and 12 that make a difference. So every time you're making a horn high Ace-Deuce, it's the same as if you were betting a big 6 or 8 instead of placing it.
How many times have you seen me make a horn high Ace-Deuce in the last, let's say, year?
Okay, folks, here's what he does for real. Okay, he didn't think I was going to see through this. He'll make a horn bet, and then he'll make a separate Ace-Deuce bet, like it's not part of the same bet.
Well, what I do is I make a world bet.
Yeah,
and then I make an Ace-Deuce, an 11. And a high-low bet. Okay, right?
Yes,
and now if one of them hits, if one of the horn numbers hits, I parlay the world all to the horn.
Yes.
And I leave up the Ace-Deuce, the 11, and the high-low bet.
Yes.
And so I have them.
He does it. Boy, I don't know that you...
And I press my 7 up $60 more.
I think you're digging your own grave here. All right,
I know. There's going to be a lot of people. But you know what? That's what makes me happy.
Okay, you know what? I'm going to go through everything that you just said. I'm going to put it into a spreadsheet. I'm going to find a way for you to bet the exact same amount on the exact same numbers and get paid more. Maybe that's why you've been losing lately.
You know what it's going to be? It's going to be when you gave me that spreadsheet to show me how bad my bets are if I didn't make them, how much more I would win and how much less I'd lose if I just did it this way. And how did that go over?
I'll tell you, folks, it was eye-opening. Mike's jaw dropped, but he didn't change a thing.
Exactly. Because you know what? I know you're right, but it's not what I believe.
Yeah, I can't argue with that.
I know.
Yeah. Next call.
Good morning, Mark. Good morning, Dr. Mike. This is Melanie calling from Colorado. Just got back from a great Vegas trip. Stayed downtown at the Cal. Played at the infamous 2 times odds Cal table. But I will say that table is a lot of fun. We had a super hot roller, so that was great. I think I won 300 off him, and I'm a low roller. Fantastic. He was a dice setter. He set it very carefully, stood next to the stickman, touched it kind of 3 times to get like a really light touch, but they still kind of rolled all over the place. So I was thinking dice control was more about, staying on axis and not bouncing around too much, but it seemed like they did bounce. However, the guy killed it. I mean, he hit that 6, 8 different times. So anyway, had a great time. When we were there with that guy rolling, this really drunk, maybe 21-year-old, I'm going to say Australian guy came up and he threw a bunch of big wad of cash on the table and he said something and I thought he said 9. The dealer thought he said 9. He said he said 8, but it was very difficult to understand him between the accent and the alcohol. Anyway, so they counted all out. He had brought just his wads of 10s and 5s and I mean, I'm sure it's like Monopoly money to him, but they counted it all out. It was $300. I guess he won it on the 8, but it sounded like he said 9. So anyway, they didn't get the bet down. He rolled an 8, and he was very upset. And they're like, we couldn't hear you. We're going to put it where you want it now. So, okay, fine. So he hits it, doubles up, pockets up, walks away. 20 minutes later, he's back. Again, 10s, 5s, few 20s, counts it all out, puts it all on 8, loses this time. Okay, comes back again. This time he has $300 in, same thing, weird change bills. And puts it all on 8, working on the come out, lost that one. And that was it. We didn't see him after that. Because I did see him just sort of pacing through the casino. It was very interesting. We had a great time. We went to see the Righteous Brothers. We had dinner at Toby Keith's on the way out. And my dad spotted Bill Medley having dinner with his band and his daughter. So anyway, we said hi and he was super nice. So that was kind of a highlight. And I love the show. I can't wait to hear it today. All right. Bye, guys.
Yeah, and she left that voicemail on the day when we were supposed to drop an episode, but it was when you were sick. So, Melanie, I apologize for that. You weren't able to hear the show on
Melanie.
that day.
And to make it up to Melanie,
yeah.
Next time I see you in Vegas, Melanie, I am going to tell you a drunk Australian story that will make you laugh so hard.
All right. Yeah. Good. Because Mike lived in Australia for a little while, right?
Yeah, so, we did live in Australia for a little while, but this happened in Cabo San Lucas, Mexico.
Okay. All right. Okay.
But it's about a drunk Australian. And I'm not going to go into it now. It's too long a story.
And don't tell me either. I want to hear at the same time.
I'll tell you both in Vegas.
So where was this guy getting all these small bills from and then coming back to the table? What was he doing?
He's Australian.
Obviously, if you don't know the currency very well, you may not know.
Right.
But it is kind of annoying when somebody comes up to the table with a huge wad of small bills. And this happened recently at Harrah's, Southern California, where a guy came up, what did he have, like $5,000? And it was all 20s.
It was all 20s. All 20s. It was $5,000 in 20s. It took him forever to count that out.
I don't know what his goal was, if it was superstition or whatever, but if I had all that money in 20s, I'd go up to the cashier first, have them run it through their machine.
They'll run it through their machine in 2 seconds. It's $5,000. They'll give you $5,000 in hundreds.
Yeah, and then go to the table.
Right.
Whatever. It's not. But
the funny thing is, that guy, did you notice he bought in for the whole $5,000, all in 20s? They counted it out, and I'm thinking, okay, well, this guy's a player. Yeah. He's going to make some bets. Like me, he's going to put $700, $800 out there on the table at one time. Right. No, put out like $40-something. It was like a $10 table. He put out like $40. Well, why didn't you just buy in for like $500? Right. Why did you buy in for $5,000 if you're going to bet $40?
I can't figure out all the people. I can figure out some of the people. I can't figure out all the people.
He's a money launderer is what he is.
Oh, that's what it was. Yeah, $20 bill money launderer.
$20.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right, next call is from Jesse. The audio's a little iffy on it, but I think you'll be able to understand most of the call. So here goes.
Hey, Mark and Dr. Mike. This is Jesse from Texas giving you a call back with my trip report to Excalibur. I just got back on Thursday. Drum roll. As far as the trip goes, was really, really good. As far as the gambling goes, it's probably the worst trip I've ever had. I lost pretty much every dime I took. The only good news is that at the airport, I found a quarter on the floor at security, so I did come home with that, so that was good.
Nice.
Otherwise, it was a good trip. Yeah, I stayed at Excalibur pretty much exclusively or have been in the past. It's one of those hotels, if you're willing to kind of, ignore the fact that it is kind of a low roller place, and you're willing to stay at a kind of cheaper hotel, you can't really beat it. $5 minimums on all the tables for the most part. They do have some $10 stuff after it gets in the evening and maybe on the weekends, I believe. But
For the most part, it's $5. They have 2 tables now. They just installed crapless craps, which I absolutely hated. Did not enjoy it. Dealers seem to hate it as well. They do have dollar machines as far as like shoot to win. They have dollar, video blackjack and video roulette. 6 months ago or so, you guys talked about down under blackjack. They do have a down under blackjack table now, which is really neat. $10 minimums, but it was really interesting to play. If I had won some money, I'd have played longer. I did also play at Harrah's a little bit. Really enjoyed playing over there. Probably will stay at some Caesars properties. More experienced gamblers, better dealers. Just seems to be more fun in general than my MGM experiences. Other than that, I've never seen more 0.7s in my life. Couldn't even play the don'ts.
Haven't been to Harrah's Southern
Cal. On a crapless craps table or flipped over. It of course flips around. I think I saw at the most 2 points established, maybe 3 when I was at Harrah's at the most. Other than that, the dealers at Harrah's were really great, but the dealers at Excalibur are kind of hit and miss. Had a couple bad experiences, but a couple of really great ones too, so be caution to that. But as far as the dealers at Excalibur, had a couple experiences where they were almost demanding hardware bets for me that I was placing for them, which was really frustrating. And then the only other thing of interest I had is I was getting ready to throw. I established myself a point. Some guy from Stick Left 1 looks over at me and says, "Good luck on your next throw, bud," and throws down $55 on don't pass, 7 out. So that was frustrating. But anyway, enjoyed the trip. Dr. Mike, I hope you feel better, and I really look forward to listening to y'all's next show. Have a good one.
Yeah, and that story at the end, Jesse actually wrote back just to clarify exactly what happened, because the way he described it, I was even thinking, wait, what happened? So the guy made a don't pass bet. Right. Jesse established a point, and then the guy looked at him and said, "Good luck on your next throw, bud," and that's when he 7'd out. So it wasn't like throwing down money and then the next roll was 7. That wouldn't make sense. So just to clarify.
But it was like he was egging him on.
Oh, yeah, that's the point of the story. Yeah,
Right,
that's definitely the point of the story.
Nice guy.
Yeah, no kidding. No kidding. Yeah, Excalibur. I mean,
he should have just thrown the dice at him. I had good luck. I hit you in the head.
That was a good throw. Thank you, sir. Thank you. I was going to say, Excalibur, it's not that bad a place to stay.
No.
It's just, it's kind of older and, there are kids, but, low limits and it's okay. So
no, what's funny? I've always liked Excalibur.
Yeah, it's true. I'm kind of the same way, although I can't remember last time I stepped foot in there.
And what's funny? We went on this last trip. We drove in. We went by Excalibur, and I said to Lynn, we should bring the girls over here. There's stuff for kids to do. And it's kind of fun. And then we just never did it. I've mentioned that like 3 times now and never done it. Yeah. The kids probably think, what's he talking about?
Yeah,
Who ever takes us there?
It's a lie. It's like just a big torture chamber inside. That's right. It's a big castle, but looks fun from the outside. All right, next call.
Hi, guys. It's Kevin calling from Toronto, Canada. I'm a new listener, but I've been going through your podcasts. They're really entertaining. You guys really show what the social and fun aspect of gambling is all about. Kind of my question to you is, I'm a relative new player to craps, but I've really dived into the game and learned all the different aspects of it. But I don't get to play that often. And what I actually do to kind of keep up on craps-related information is watch videos on YouTube. So, for example, I watch Color Up and The Road Gambler. Do you guys have any favorite YouTube channels that you watch to kind of see the different craps strategies or crap rolls that go on throughout the U.S.? Thanks a lot. I really appreciate your podcast. Have a good day.
We don't really watch YouTube channels for the craps, but we have heard great things about the 2 that you mentioned, Color Up and Road Gambler. In fact, we mentioned Road Gambler here recently, where he actually records crap sessions at the casino. One of our listeners actually contacted us and said that he suspects Road Gambler is using like a spy camera that maybe is on his like a button or maybe something. Even on his glasses or something. Yeah. Because if it were, he made a good point. If it were his phone, like in his pocket, it would kind of move around quite a bit and be kind of shaky like that.
Yeah, maybe it's on his glasses. Then he just has to look, at what's going on.
Yeah, it could be.
Now, what do you think would happen to him if he got caught?
I don't know. That's a good question because he's not using it to cheat at the game. Certainly,
no. It's just for entertainment purposes.
Like yeah, a good question. I guess it would depend on the casino, but I don't think he could be charged with a crime. I'm not a lawyer, so don't quote me. But yeah.
Well, I mean,
they'd kick you out. That's probably what would happen.
Probably just kick you out. Yeah. Seems to me like take your glasses away. We're confiscating. I need to see. No.
All right. Next up is Nate.
Hey guys, this is Nate from Kansas City. Love listening to the show. I'm getting excited for a trip to Vegas for March Madness, and I'm going to be playing a lot of craps. The last time I was in Vegas, I was there on a Monday, kind of wrapping up our trip. I was there with my wife, and she didn't want to gamble anymore, so it was just myself at a craps table at downtown Grand. Slow day, $5 minimum table. I generally like to be able to organize my chips to kind of know where I'm at in comparison to how I bought in. So what I was doing was kind of dividing my chips by 50. You know, I'd have 10 red chips with a $1 white chip in between, and that's kind of how I staggered everything, so I had an idea of where I was at. And, you know, the dealer said, hey, you shouldn't do that. And I'm not sure exactly why I can't do it. I don't know if it was a etiquette thing, if that's just something that they don't allow. Just curious if you've ever heard of this, and just love to know what's going on with that. Thanks. Love the show.
I've never heard of that.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I don't know why a dealer would say you shouldn't do that. Is it
not you can't do that? You shouldn't do that.
Is it because the dealer is saying, well, you shouldn't count your chips, you know, never count your chips.
Don't count your chips.
Yeah, you know, so
that has to be it. I bet you that's it. I bet it's just some dealer who's like, oh, it's bad luck to count your chips. Don't do that.
It could be.
Because, you know, I've heard people say that. Oh, stop counting them. My dad says that to me every once in a while. Oh, stop counting them. It's bad luck.
But you and I, we constantly are counting our chips. So are a lot of players.
Constantly.
And I do the same thing. I separate them, you know, using the white chips to kind of separate. It's certainly not against the rules of the casino.
Right. No. And a lot of times I'm doing it just to keep myself busy.
Sure. Right.
So like in between, I mean, you know, I count, I've got $1,300 and then I win 70 on a 5 and I count it again. Oh, I got $1,370. like I didn't know.
Well, and sometimes you do have a lot of low denomination chips and it's hard to tell how much you have.
Right.
And you do want to know, hey, am I up or am I down?
Right. Or how close am I? I'm usually thinking, how close am I?
How close am I? Yeah.
Do I need to make another horn high ace deuce bet so I can get even?
There's so many t-shirts we should have. How close am I? And then on the back, you know, horn high ace deuce.
How close am I? Just a shirt that says, how close am I? People, you can wear that anywhere.
That would be great because somebody would come up to you.
Kind of close?
What does that mean? How close am I? And then you just turn around and it says horn high ace deuce. It's crystal clear.
Right here. It's horn high ace deuce.
Oh.
Just horn high ace deuce would be good because a lot of people be like, what's a horn?
Is that offensive?
Yeah.
I think it's offensive.
I heard that on a rap song.
All right, let's hear from Adam again.
Hey guys, this is Adam from Connecticut. I just wanted to call and give you guys an update. Unfortunately, it's not a great update about MGM Springfield and some things that I've noticed lately. When it first opened, I loved it. It was phenomenal. They had $10 craps tables, which I really prefer 5, but I can play 10. Not a big deal. The crews were phenomenal, which they still are. I will give them that. They're still absolutely amazing crews. However, I was at MGM tonight. It's Sunday night. I was there until about midnight, a little after midnight. Even at 11 p.m. on a Sunday night, they had 3 craps tables open, and the lowest limit was $15. There was one that was basically empty, and I asked them if they would mind lowering to $10, and they said no. They have Spanish 21 there, which is phenomenal. The payouts are right on Spanish 21, which is great. However, they had $15, and then they had $20, which I have never, ever, ever in any casino seen a table with a $20 minimum bet. It's ridiculous. I can't believe that they're doing it, and they are just destroying that casino. It's only been open since August. I will say the poker room is still phenomenal. It's still one of the nicest poker rooms around, although Mohegan is redoing theirs, so I'm curious to see what theirs is like. I was excited when MGM announced that they were opening in Springfield because it's a 25-minute drive for me as opposed to an hour and 5 minutes to get to Mohegan. However, I think at this point, it's more prudent for me as a craps player to drive the extra 40 minutes, play $10 craps. But Mohegan Sun, even on the weekends, they have $10 craps in abundance. They have one $5 table that's designated as $5. I believe it's 24 hours a day. If not, it's a majority of the time it's $5. Yes, it can be packed, but that's okay. They have blackjack right next to it, so you can sit and play blackjack until the crowd thins out a little bit, or you can just stand around and wait. It's up to you. Honestly, I'm very disappointed in MGM. Tonight's experience, and that's just one of many, but tonight's experience has ruined it. I also was upset with the fact that at a $15 roulette table, they will not let you play $1 inside. They will only let you play $5 chips inside. Again, Mohegan, Foxwoods, $15 tables, no problem. So as long as you're betting the table minimum, they will give you dollar chips. MGM, $5 chips, that's it. It's ridiculous. It's thievery. And I kind of wish at this point, with the way that you guys talk about Caesar's properties, I really wish that it was a Caesars property that had one bid at Springfield. Anyway, hopefully I'll be calling you with a 6-point fire bet win at Mohegan pretty soon. Dr. Mike, I know that you're going to be in the Boston area.
And he got cut off there at the 3-minute mark. He actually sent an email afterwards, realizing he got cut off. He went on to say that he was actually planning to meet you at MGM Springfield, but he was so put off by this, he just doesn't plan on going anymore.
Yeah, and I'm probably not going to make it.
Yeah, I was going to say you're going to be pretty busy.
Yeah, our schedule turns out to be so tight. Yeah. I just don't know. It might be a minor miracle, and I might make it. Okay, but chances are not good.
Yeah. Obviously, the casinos will make their minimums to whatever the market will allow, right?
Right.
So,
sure.
And that can happen. And yeah, if you don't like it, go somewhere else. That's
$20 is ridiculous, though.
Well, yeah, and it's funny. We talked about it, I know on an episode some time ago. The only time I've ever really heard about a $20 table is on PieGow, where they deliberately have $20 chips so that it's only $1 commission
to make the commission.
Right. That's the only time I've actually heard about that. But yeah, if you're enjoying a different casino, or if they've got better limits, go ahead and make the drive. That's certainly what we do. Yeah, like we said earlier, right? We drive a lot farther because we enjoy playing at Harrah's Southern California.
When we own a casino, Mark, this is what we're going to do.
Okay.
On our blackjack tables, we're going to have a big wheel behind the blackjack table.
Okay.
And it's going to be like one of those big wheels where, on the big wheel, there's more dollar slots than there are $20 or $10. Ours is going to be the opposite. It's going to have like 10s and 15s, a lot of them, but then it's going to have some 5s and some 2s and some 1s. Okay. Every 15 minutes, the dealer spins the wheel, and for the next 15 minutes, the minimum is whatever it lands on.
Now that's good.
Yeah, whatever it lands on. So if it lands on 1 for the next 15 minutes, the minimum bet's $1. If it lands on 15, it's 15. It'll always be changing.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I can't see any problems with that.
It'll be fun.
I'll tell you, this roulette thing, though, that is infuriating.
Yeah.
A $15 minimum, but you have to make $5 bets on those inside bets.
Yeah,
that's ridiculous.
Well, it doesn't make sense, really.
It really doesn't.
And it's not like... sometimes they do that on tables because they don't want a lot of chips out. Like
I understand.
Like on a repeater bet, they want, $5 bets only or something because they don't want all these ones and everything. I understand that. Roulette, that doesn't matter. People just stack it up.
Right.
It's a stack.
Plus, it's a $15 minimum table. Most people who want to play at a $15 table are spreading it out. They're not putting $5 chips in the middle. They're spreading it out.
Yeah, they're taking 15 ones and spreading it on a bunch of numbers, right?
Anyway.
How can you figure them out?
You can't. I said, I can figure some people. I can't figure them all out.
Yeah, well, you can't figure me out with my big wheel.
No, I can't. Well, I think I figured it out as soon as your mouth opened. All right, next up is Tim.
Hi, Mark and Dr. Mike. This is Tim from Minnesota. I'd like to give a trip report from a recent trip to Grand Falls, Iowa. It was a nice little casino. It's got 2 craps tables, one with the fire bet. I was up on 3 times on the fire bet, and 4 points were made, and up on 5 points, and made some money there. And this week marks 1 year since I started listening to your podcast. I was looking for some blackjack information, came across your podcast, and lo and behold, I found out I love playing craps. And I really love the way you guys explain the game. I know Tyler from Minnesota. He happens to be my son. If perhaps you remember his daughter. Is Dr. Mike there?
Oh, yeah. It was so Tyler would come home and he'd say hello like you do at the beginning of the show. Hello. Right. And his daughter said, is Dr. Mike there? That's right.
He recently had a trip to Las Vegas and said he only won when he hit the all tall small. Well, I have some advice for him, and I've been giving it to him for some time. He never plays the 4 and 10. I tell him to place the 4 and 10, but he only plays the inside numbers. Well, maybe if he hears it on a podcast for gambling, maybe he'll start listening to me. Well, love the podcast, and for Dr. Mike, even though Minnesota doesn't have craps, we found it just across the border in Wisconsin and Iowa, and it's coming to South Dakota also. Keep up the good work. Thanks.
All right. I can't bring myself to say absolutely buy the 4 and 10.
But you do a lot.
I do. Yeah, recently. Yeah, I have been doing it a lot.
You've taken the even numbers. 4,
Here's
6,
what
8,
I'll say.
10.
If they take the VIG only on wins, then yeah, that's not a bad bet. It's under 2%. But if they take the VIG ahead of time, so in other words, you're paying the VIG whether you win or lose,
right,
it's over 4%, almost 5%.
Yeah.
And so I can't bring myself to actually suggest that. Do you want to do that?
I will suggest it because it's the money maker, my friend. It is the money makers, 4s and 10s. You bet that. Sure, it's not going to hit all the time, but when it hits, oh, it's so sweet.
It's so fun.
You pick your money up, you take a lap around the table, and you just stop to some random guy and just in your face.
It's so funny to hear Dr. Mike say this because for a long time, those were the two bets he wouldn't make.
I wouldn't make.
It's 4 and 10, and now it's one of his new things.
Oh,
So,
it's fun.
yeah, I guess so.
It's the only funner thing left at Harris, Southern California.
All right, let's get to our last call here. I do want to say that those phone sounds that you've been hearing, those dings and swooshes and everything, that's Mike playing on his phone, looking at all the sports.
Look at all the sports
like he said he
scores.
was going to do. All right, last call from Chris.
Hey guys, just found your podcast. I thought it was pretty cool. I want to give you my trip report in the Denver area. My name's Chris. Had an afternoon to kill, headed up to the Blackhawk area, to the Ameristar, and played some craps. Was down to my last $60. And I went on to hit the all tall, all small in one roll. Not once, not twice, but 3 times, over 50 rolls, and I ended up getting out of there with about $975. It was a hell of an afternoon. Thanks, guys.
Nice. 3 times. We've seen it twice.
We've seen it twice.
Yeah.
And I had that big one at the D, remember?
That's what I'm thinking of.
Cashed out like $12,000 on that.
That was
hitting
the
a bunch
2.
of all talls.
Yeah.
But 3 times.
Yeah, that's something else.
Oh my God, that would be sweet.
Yep. Well, congratulations, Chris. All right, March Madness is coming up. It's actually going to start before we drop our next episode.
Right.
So everybody, good luck.
On your brackets.
Good luck on your brackets. I've actually set up a couple of groups on ESPN for both the men's and the women's tournaments that I want to encourage people to join. It's not for money or anything. We're just going to do it for fun, just like we did last time. I'll actually tweet about this so people can,
it's
follow
for bragging
the link.
rights.
It's for bragging rights. The groups are named. It's You Can Bet on That, all one word. You Can Bet on That space men's MEN''S, and then also You Can Bet on That space women's. So those two, again, I'll tweet about it. But I don't know if you actually search on ESPN. I don't think you can actually join the group unless you get an invitation. So I'll put the invitation in Twitter, so that everybody can just follow that link and go in there. And so we encourage you to do that, again, just for fun.
Now, if I enter that, will any of the players on any of the teams in the tournament actually be on the team because their parents paid a lot of money to get them into the school and they don't even know how to play the game?
Yeah, that's a good question. My understanding is about 20% of the roster don't actually play.
Right.
That's my understanding.
And they may have just paid to get on the bench?
Exactly, yes. They sit on the bench. So, yeah.
I wonder if I can pay to sit at the craps table and not play. Seems like I do that every week in Harris, Southern
The casino
California.
might pay you. Hey, there's Dr. Mike. Let's go play on that table.
Sit
you just got a
here.
big scowl on your face. All right, that's going to do it for this episode. We want to thank some people for some PayPal donations. First of all, from Chris. Wish me luck on my March Madness trip. Love the show. Chris from Round Rock, Texas. Yeah, good luck. Again,
Good luck.
that was me. Also from Chaz Gator, karma donation for an upcoming Las Vegas trip starting March 17th. Wishing both of you a healthy, prosperous, and happy 2019. Love the show. Sincerely, Chaz Gator. The second Z is silent in Chaz. Oh,
Wow.
I pronounced it wrong the first time I said it. Then I guess
Chaz.
I'll have to do it again. Also, a donation from Ann. Karma donation for our upcoming trip to Vegas on March 24th. Started listening to the show around Christmas and have listened to all of 2018, then 2017, and now am working my way back through 2016. I think that's actually a good idea because then you're less likely to be surprised by our April Fool's episode.
Yeah,
because you'll hear the one afterwards first.
But
then
don't
you'll know
you think
that,
we're getting better? So they're listening, they're refreshing.
Oh, it's terrible. Yeah, we're not as good as hosts, and certainly the audio is a lot worse. So yeah, it's like going back in time to the dark ages.
Which is sometimes nice.
Getting back to Ann, she says, saving 2 of the most recent episodes for the plane ride. I'm a pretty conservative player, but considering starting things off with a hard 6 for good luck on this next trip. Love the show and appreciate all the craps chatter. Oh, that's a
I hope she hits the hard 6. And if you hit the hard 6, parlay it. Seriously, because
if it's only $1, go ahead. Yeah.
Or 5. If it's 5,
All
just
right.
parlay it.
All right.
And if it hits, okay, go to 25. If it's $1 and you go to 10.
Yeah.
If it hits, go to a quarter. If you start with $5, you parlay it to 50. If it hits, you got to go to 100. Right. You've got to go to 100.
All right, no comment. Also, a donation from Guillermo. He says, thank you for scratching my gambling between trips. Quick tip, if you want all the action of March Madness without the crowds or high prices, conference tournament weekend is where it's at. Guillermo from the OC. Oh, yeah, I know. It's exciting, too.
Conference tournament for us in Mountain West is at UNLV.
Yeah, I think it is every year.
Yeah, it's every year
in Las Vegas.
In Las Vegas. And it is a good tournament, and it's very exciting. A lot of people go.
Also, a donation from Lori. Thanks very much, Lori. She and her husband are taking a trip to Palm Springs here soon. She emailed us, and I had recommended the Agua Caliente Casino, which is right there.
It's nice,
and I think that's a good one, too. She says she's a slot player, and it looked like they had tons of slots and stuff. Yeah,
yep.
Right. And finally, a donation from Jesse. He says, love the show, guys. I wanted to show my appreciation for what y'all do. Jesse from Texas.
Thank you, Jesse.
Hey, be sure to check out our TV listings showing all the gambling-related shows coming up within the next 2 weeks. We update those listings every Wednesday using a customized program that searches through all the raw American TV data. Just go to youcanbetonThat.com/TV-listings. We'd love to hear from you. Call our voicemail hotline at 951-292-4377. That's 9512-WAGERS. Or you can email us at youcanbetonthat@gmail.com. You can also follow us on Twitter at youcanbetonthat and on Facebook at facebook.com/youcanbetonthat. Finally, please go to your favorite podcast app and write a review on us. We love getting your feedback. Now, our next episode in 2 weeks is actually going to drop while you are in Boston. Right. So I think what we're going to do is actually record a week early and then release it on our normal
So we're going to
Thursday.
record 3 weeks in a row.
So we're going
to kill me.
Yeah. So yeah, you're leaving here soon, going to Boston. Probably won't go to MGM Springfield, but have a good trip. What else do you have to say for us here to wrap it up, Mike?
Well, speaking of being sick, have you been following the Padres?
Not really. Honestly, I have not really.
They have the best spring season record.
Oh, do they?
Yeah.
For
in their
Arizona?
In the Arizona League.
Really?
Yep.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes.
It doesn't mean much, but
no, it means nothing because they're going to suck when the year starts. But seriously, are we going to be in Vegas before the season starts?
No,
I don't think
so. No.
Right?
We're not going to be there till Memorial Day. We're going to be in Atlantic City after the season has started even.
Yeah, right. That'll be after this. I was thinking, how are we going to get a bet on the Padres to win it all?
Oh, I can probably figure something out.
You figure something out.
I'll figure something out.
We should seriously make a bet on that.
Well,
I know it's throwing money away.
We already, a listener already made a bet for us.
Right,
Remember, I've got that in the drawer upstairs.
I mean a bet of our own. That,
okay. All right. All right.
They might be good this year.
Okay.
I mean,
it's not what you said last time. You said they have no pitching.
They have no pitching, and I don't think they're going to be good, but they might.
Okay.
There's some promise, there's some hope,
right.
as there is every spring.
Yeah.
But, and it always, is gone by April 10th. But, anyway, I'm excited about baseball coming.
Yeah,
I'm
me
super
too.
excited about the NCAA basketball tournament.
Oh, of course.
As I said before, it's one of my favorite things. And we've been doing good on our sports betting.
Yeah, we have.
Yeah, since I convinced you to bet the exact opposite of what you think.
It was so bad. We had a Saturday that was so bad. I actually came up with this brilliant idea. I said, Mike, tomorrow I'm doing the exact opposite of what I've done. And you said, well, you know what's going to happen.
Yeah, exactly. You'll probably lose them all again because...
No, it's working.
No, it's working like a charm. We've been on a hot streak with that.
Yeah, so...
Maybe we'll just give up playing craps at Harris, Southern California, and we'll just concentrate on sports wagering.
Yeah, I can see that happening.
Yeah.
Anything else?
No.
All right. Thanks for listening.
Good night.
Mark, that was wonderful. I had no idea you were so talented. The audience is going to love you.